Dawn breaks across the arid savanna. A mother honey badger emerges from the dry brush, searching for food to sustain her cub. Her young cub follows closely behind, entirely dependent on her protection in a territory crowded with watchful, hungry eyes. Every morning breeze carries warnings across the plains. Her keen senses test the cold air for any sign of nearby predators. High in a dead acacia, a martial eagle scans the open ground below, searching for any vulnerable target moving in daylight. From its vantage point, the apex raptor spots the clumsy movements of the small badger cub trailing behind its mother. Unaware of the aerial observer, the mother leads her cub toward a dry termite mound, hunting for insects and lizards. The cub struggles across the cracked red earth, still too young to understand the unforgiving rules of this open wilderness. In the distant thorn scrub, another lethal predator stirs. A female leopard creeps silently through the low golden morning mist. With calculated patience, the big cat locks her amber eyes onto the badgers, lowering her muscular body into stalking position. A sudden shift in the wind alerts the mother. She halts instantly, lifting her snout as danger closes in from two directions. Her powerful digging claws dig deep into the dry earth as her loose, thick fur bristles across her scarred silver mantle. With a firm nudge, she orders her vulnerable cub to retreat backward toward the shelter of the underground burrow entrance. Above, the martial eagle launches silently from its wooden perch, casting a swift predatory shadow across the sunlit savanna floor. Simultaneously, the leopard steps into clear view, golden rosettes gleaming as she closes the distance across the barren ground. Trapped between ground claws and sky talons, the solitary mother refuses to flee, bracing her body for an impossible defense. The leopard circles slowly, measuring the distance. She is 4 times heavier, but experience has taught her caution against this adversary. Massive paws flex as curved claws extend into the red soil, testing grip before launching a decisive physical assault. The mother releases a deafening threat rattle, bearing bone-crushing jaws that can shatter tortoise shells and slice through thick predator hide. Exploiting the ground distraction, the martial eagle folds its wings, dropping like a thunderbolt directly toward the exposed burrow opening. With astonishing speed, the mother spins around, leaping upward to snap her jaws just inches from the raptor's razor-sharp talons. Forced to abort its strike, the eagle pumps its broad wings violently, climbing back into the sky without its intended prize. The momentary lapse is all the leopard needs. She explodes forward in a lethal sprint, targeting the mother's exposed flank. The leopard's claws strike home, but the honey badger's legendary 6mm thick rubbery skin twists freely, preventing teeth and claws from reaching bone. Turning completely around inside her own loose hide, the mother retaliates instantly, clamping her jaws onto the predator's front leg. Stung by the unexpected counterstrike, the leopard springs backward, shaking her paw in disbelief at the sheer tenacity of her opponent. She raises her tail, unleashing a suffocating pungent musk from her anal glands that overwhelms the sensitive noses of savanna predators. From deep within the burrow, the cub watches the violent struggle, relying entirely on its mother's refusal to give ground. High above, the martial eagle reassesses the situation, choosing not to risk another dive against an enraged and fully alerted mother. Recognizing that the badger's ferocity outweighs the potential meal, the leopard turns slowly, retreating back into the dense thorn scrub. Alone at the entrance of her burrow, the mother stands panting in the climbing sun, battered by dust but entirely unbroken. Under the scorching midday sun, the mother must leave the burrow's safety, driven by her dehydrated cub's urgent need for nourishment. She stalks through the bleached thorn scrub, following the faint scent of reptile tracks baked into the blistering savanna sand. Beneath a weathered thorn root, she discovers a deadly Mozambique spitting cobra coiled tightly in the only available patch of shade. The serpent rears up instantly, spreading its broad salmon-banded hood and hissing violently to defend its refuge from the intruder. Unfazed by the venomous display, the mother advances steadily forward, her specialized thick eyelids prepared to shield against chemical attacks. With explosive precision, the cobra sprays 2 twin streams of blinding neurotoxic venom straight toward the approaching badger's face. The mother tilts her head down, catching the toxic spray harmlessly across her dense facial fur and thick protective brow. Above them, the martial eagle circles low, drawn by the commotion and waiting to scavenge whoever collapses under the midday sun. Caught between Venom on the ground and talons in the open sky, she cannot afford hesitation in this blazing arena. She weaves rapidly in tight circles around the serpent, kicking up hot red dust to confuse its heat-sensing predatory strikes. The Cobra lunges forward, sinking fangs into her loose rubbery neck, but the toxic payload struggles to penetrate the dense tissue. Ignoring the venom, the mother snaps her powerful jaws shut, crushing the serpent's skull in a single decisive, bone-shattering counterstrike. As the snake goes limp, absorbed toxins enter her bloodstream, slowing her racing pulse and forcing her heavy body to stagger. Her legs buckle in the blazing sand, slipping into a temporary biochemical coma while her specialized antibodies neutralize the venom. The eagle watches from its perch, unaware that beneath her motionless hide, the mother's immune system is already winning the battle. 2 hours pass under the shifting sun. The mother's eyelids flutter open as her resilient body purges the cobra's paralyzing neurotoxin. Rising steadily to her feet, she consumes the snake's venomous head first, before gripping the remaining carcass in her jaws. Late afternoon light bathes the dry riverbed in deep orange hues as she carries the high-protein meal toward her waiting cub. Every step is driven by maternal instinct, navigating the exposed sands where shadows lengthen and nocturnal hunters begin to stir. A distant eerie whoop breaks the stillness. 3 spotted hyenas emerge along the sandy ridge, drawn by the scent of fresh blood. The lead hyena locks its gaze onto the lone badger, eager to bully the smaller predator and steal her hard-won prize. The pack fans out into a closing arc, cutting off the direct route across the open gravel toward her distant burrow. Dropping the serpent between her forepaws, the mother honey badger plants her stance, refusing to yield a single bite of food. The lead scavenger steps forward, snapping massive bone-crushing jaws designed to splinter elephant limbs, testing the mother's resolve. Instead of fleeing, the badger launches an explosive frontal charge, lunging straight at the larger predator's vulnerable, sensitive snout. Startled by her ferocious counterattack, the hyena recoils violently, whining in surprise as sharp claws graze across its dark muzzle. Seizing the opening, she drags the carcass backward toward a narrow granite crevice at the base of the rocky kopje. She backs into the tight rock fissure, anchoring herself where the hyena's bulky shoulders cannot fit to follow. Frustrated and unwilling to risk severe facial injuries for a meager scrap, the scavengers pace restlessly outside the stone barrier. As dusk deepens and the hyenas disperse, the mother reclaims the meal, setting out on the final stretch home. Deep twilight settles across the savanna as the mother honey badger treks the final stretch toward her underground sanctuary. A pale full moon rises over the plains, casting cold silver illumination across the coarse white mantle of her back. Her heavy paws maintain a steady rhythm across the cooling earth, bearing the weight of a grueling, predator-filled day. Ahead in the moonlight, the familiar outline of the dead acacia tree marks the entrance to her hidden underground home. She pauses at the mouth of the burrow, testing the night air once more to ensure no stalker has followed. Lowering her head into the dark opening, she emits a soft, maternal guttural grunt to signal her safe return. Recognizing the sound, the small cub scrambles out of the darkness, stepping into the gentle silver glow of moonlight. The hungry cub nuzzles eagerly against her scarred snout, safe from the eagle and the leopard that hunted them earlier. She drops the nutritious snake carcass onto the cool red earth, allowing her offspring to tear into the vital sustenance. While the cub feeds hungrily, the mother gently grooms its neck fur, reinforcing an unbreakable bond forged in daily survival. In the distant moonlit shadows, nocturnal hunters prowl the plains, but none will dare challenge this proven mother tonight. Exhausted but triumphant, she rests atop the burrow mound, guarding her territory beneath a vast canopy of African stars. Her notched ear and shoulder scar gleam in the starlight, living proof that relentless courage can outmatch the greatest predators. With the meal finished, she nudges her well-fed cub back into the warm safety of the deep underground chamber. Survival on the savanna is never a final victory. It is only permission to face the rising sun once again tomorrow. As midnight cloaks the savanna, another armored creature ventures forth. A Cape porcupine emerges to forage beneath the silver moon. Guided by a powerful sense of smell, its heavy front claws unearth succulent roots buried deep in the dry soil. Over its left shoulder, a cluster of yellowed regrown quills tells the story of previous battles survived against hungry savanna carnivores. Drawn by the sound of rustling dry grass, an inexperienced young male lion stalks quietly through the cool, moonlit shadows. The young predator crouches low on the dusty earth, eager to test his hunting skills against this slow-moving nocturnal prize. Sensitive vibrissae catch subtle ground vibrations. The porcupine freezes instantly, raising its head to identify the approaching heavy threat. In a dramatic defensive reflex, hundreds of sharp black and white banded quills rise erect, doubling the rodent's apparent physical size. Hollow quills at the base of its tail vibrate rapidly, creating a loud, menacing rattle that echoes across the silent plain. Driven by youthful arrogance and raw hunger, the young lion ignores the acoustic warning, creeping within striking distance. The porcupine wheels around instantly, presenting its impenetrable armored rear shield directly toward the approaching cat's lowered face. The lion extends a heavy forepaw to swipe, underestimating the lethal engineering of the defensive quills poised before him. With explosive suddenness, the porcupine charges backward, ramming its lance-like quills toward the predator with punishing kinetic force. The sharp quills strike the dry soil inches from the lion's paw as the startled cat recoils in frantic retreat. Humiliated and narrowly missing a face full of barbed spines, the young lion slinks away into the dark scrub. As the first glow of dawn paints the horizon, the victorious porcupine safely retreats into a granite kopje crevice. As the sun rises, a Temminck's ground pangolin walks across the dawn savanna, seeking active ant and termite nests. Massive front claws easily tear through the rock-hard clay of a weathered termite mound to reach the insect chambers within. Specialized 40-centimeter sticky tongue harvests thousands of insects, while chipped shoulder scales bear witness to a lifetime of survival. High in a dead acacia, the keen-eyed martial eagle spots the moving armored figure traversing the exposed morning plain. Below in the scrub, the leopard also detects the scent, closing in quietly on what seems to be slow-moving prey. Catching the predator's scent on the morning breeze, the pangolin rises onto its hind legs to assess the dual danger. With the eagle swooping from above and the leopard charging from the grass, open escape is completely impossible. In a single fluid motion, the pangolin rolls into a tight, impenetrable sphere, wrapping its heavy-scaled tail around its head. The leopard pounces immediately, clamping her jaws down, but her canines skid harmlessly across the rock-hard keratin scales. The overlapping scales lock tightly together, forming a blade-like shield that deflects the predator's crushing bite force. The diving eagle strikes with extended talons, but sharp claws find no purchase on the seamless armored ball. Frustrated by the rolling fortress, the big cat paws and pushes the sphere across the dirt, finding zero vulnerable openings. Muscular contractions along the pangolin's tail snap scale edges like scissors, warning the feline to keep her paws away. Recognizing the futility of their efforts, both apex hunters abandon the impenetrable prize and depart across the sunlit savanna. In the warm morning light, the unyielding survivor slowly uncurls, walking away entirely unharmed by the savanna's deadliest hunters. Mid-morning sun warms the eastern plains as a new chapter of survival unfolds, introducing Africa's most coordinated team of small hunters. Banded Mongoose matriarch leads her clan out from an abandoned termite mound, marching into the open scrub in tight formation. Her sharp claws instantly unearth a giant thick-tailed scorpion, pinning the dangerous arachnid before it can deliver a lethal sting. Fighting off the venomous stinger with surgical precision, she consumes the high-protein meal, relying on evolved resistance to native toxins. The clan scatters across the dry red soil, maintaining constant chirping vocalizations to coordinate movement and detect hidden dangers. A dedicated sentinel stands tall on its hind legs atop a weathered log, scanning ground and sky for approaching predators. Slicing silently through the tall, bleached grass, a massive venomous serpent approaches, heading directly into the troop's foraging path. The snake rears upward, spreading its dark hood and hissing violently as the leading mongooses stumble into its striking zone. The sentinel sounds an urgent, bird-like alarm chirp, instantly alerting every member of the foraging troop across the clearing. Instead of fleeing in panic, the entire clan rushes together, forming a bristling, unified wall of snarling bodies. Moving as a single undulating unit, the mongooses dart and feint, confusing the serpent's lightning-fast predatory strikes. The matriarch leaps sideways with split-second agility, dodging a venomous lunge by millimeters before counterattacking from the flank. Working in lethal coordination, several mongooses lunge simultaneously, snapping powerful jaws around the serpent's exposed neck. Overwhelmed by relentless collective aggression, the venomous intruder turns and flees, disappearing into deep fissures between savanna boulders. Triumphant through unity, the fearless mongoose clan resumes their morning march, proving that cooperation conquers the savanna's deadliest venom. Across the shimmering grasslands, a secretary bird stalks the plains on towering stilt-like legs, scanning the dry earth for deadly reptiles. Her long, thick-scaled legs act as natural armor, designed to withstand venomous strikes while delivering bone-shattering stomps. A single elongated crest feather curves back from her crown, while pale orange skin frames her sharp, predatory yellow eyes. Ahead in the dry, bleached grass, a heavily camouflaged puff adder lies coiled, relying on ambush rather than active pursuit. The thick-bodied viper detects approaching footsteps, drawing its wide triangular head back into an explosive defensive striking coil. Approaching with deliberate caution, the tall bird flares her black-tipped wings wide, using the dark feathers as a moving shield. The adder inflates its heavy body, releasing a deep, raspy hiss to warn the hunter before lunging forward. With explosive speed, the viper launches its fangs forward, striking in less than a tenth of a single second. Leaping backward into the air, the secretary bird dodges the venomous fangs by mere inches, using outspread wings for balance. In a lethal counterstrike, her heavy foot drops like a sledgehammer, delivering 5 times her body weight in force. A razor-sharp talon strikes the serpent's skull with pinpoint accuracy, delivering an instant, fatal blow in 15 milliseconds. Stepping back cautiously onto cracked savanna dirt, she waits a moment to ensure the dangerous reptile is completely neutralized. Securing the meal with her curved black beak, she flips the viper upward to swallow the high-protein feast whole. The long serpent slides down her throat, providing vital energy to sustain hours of relentless savanna marching in heat. Standing tall against the endless horizon, the agile hunter resumes her solitary patrol, maintaining balance across the African plains. Across the red dunes of the Kalahari, a Meerkat clan emerges from their deep burrow network into the bright afternoon sun. The alpha female takes position on her hind legs, balancing with her tail to scan the vast desert horizon. Below her watchful gaze, clan members dig vigorously into loose red sand, hunting for nutrient-rich scorpions and beetle larvae. Her wider left eye patch and double-ringed tail tip identify the experienced matriarch who has guided this family through countless droughts. Perched in a dead camelthorn tree, a fork-tailed drongo observes the digging meerkats, plotting a cunning, deceptive strategy. Bird mimics a terrifying raptor alarm call, sending the alarmed meerkats scrambling frantically into nearby escape bolt holes. Swooping down instantly, the deceitful bird snatches a fat, abandoned scorpion from the sand before the meerkats realize the trick. But as the clan reemerges, a real predator appears, a venomous Cape Cobra slithering directly toward the nursery burrow entrance. The sentinel spots the yellow serpent, barking an authentic, high-pitched war call that mobilizes the entire clan into defensive formation. Standing shoulder to shoulder, the meerkats form a snarling mob, jumping in unison and kicking clouds of red sand. The deadly cobra rears its golden-brown hood, hissing violently as the united family surrounds it in a tight perimeter. The matriarch leads the charge, darting forward to draw the strike, while agile clan members flank the disoriented reptile. Dodging a lightning-fast lunge, she kicks abrasive red sand directly into the cobra's eyes, breaking its predatory focus completely. Frustrated by the blinding sand and relentless collective aggression, the venomous serpent turns away, retreating into the distant scrub. With danger averted, the pups emerge safely, reuniting with the vigilant matriarch standing proud atop the sunlit desert dune. In the dry scrubland, an extraordinary partnership unfolds as a hornbill waits patiently outside a termite mound for sleeping dwarf mongooses. The bird pecks at the burrow entrance, sounding a gentle call to wake its hunting partners before the afternoon fades. Responding to the summons, a tiny chocolate-brown mongoose emerges, stretching her short limbs in the warm afternoon light. Together, the dwarf mongoose clan and the watchful hornbill set out across the scrub in a mutually beneficial alliance. As the mongooses excavate the soil for grubs, fleeing grasshoppers and beetles are swiftly snapped up by the hopping bird. With lightning reflexes, the matriarch uncovers a venomous scorpion, using her forepaws to roll and neutralize the dangerous prey. Her sharp teeth crush the scorpion's body, relying on ancestral biochemical resistance to shrug off the potent desert venom. High above, a pale chanting goshawk glides silently between thorn trees, searching for exposed prey on the open ground. From an elevated branch, the hornbill spots the raptor's silhouette, instantly fulfilling its role as the clan's dedicated lookout. The bird releases a piercing alarm clatter, warning the busy mongooses of the airborne predator diving from the blue sky. Instantly obeying the call, the mongooses vanish beneath dense, thorny roots a mere split second before talons strike bare ground. The hawk's talons strike empty sand, thwarted entirely by the seamless early warning system of the cooperative allies. Frustrated by the impenetrable teamwork, the aerial hunter takes flight, leaving the fortified thicket behind in the cooling wind. The hornbill sounds a soft, all-clear note, prompting the safe mongooses to resume their synchronized search for food. In a world of constant peril, trust across species boundaries transforms small, fragile creatures into master survivors of the wild. As twilight blankets the savanna, Africa's most successful pack hunters prepare for their evening patrol near a hidden underground den. Before the hunt begins, the pack engages in a vocal greeting ceremony, reinforcing unbreakable bonds through enthusiastic snout touches and tail wags. The alpha female, marked by a teardrop white thigh patch and notched ear, checks on her vulnerable pups before departure. Leaving 2 dedicated yearlings behind as den guards, the hunting pack steps out onto the cooling, sunset-lit savanna grassland. They move in fluid, silent formation, pacing their long, lean legs to conserve stamina for high-speed endurance pursuits ahead. Across the open plain, the lead dog spots an impala herd, lowering its large, rounded ears to signal an ambush. The pack explodes into a relentless 50-km/h chase, taking turns leading the charge to systematically exhaust their target. Flanking the fleeing prey from both sides, they close the escape corridors with calculated, surgical precision across the dusty flats. A swift, synchronized leap brings the pursuit to a decisive end, securing vital nutrition for their waiting family at home. They consume the meal rapidly, storing rich meat inside their bellies to transport food safely back to the den site. A lone spotted hyena rushes in to scavenge, but the united wild dog pack turns instantly to aggressively mob the intruder. Outnumbered and outmatched by the furious canine wall, the scavenger flees into the gathering dusk shadows without a single bite. Full-bellied and victorious, the pack gallops smoothly back across the cooling plains under a deep violet twilight sky. Returning to the den, adults regurgitate warm, protein-rich meat for the pups, ensuring the young feed before any mature hunter. As stars emerge, the pack curls together in protective warmth, proving that collective devotion is the ultimate weapon of survival. Under the bright morning sun, a resilient warthog mother grazes on open plains, accompanied by 3 fragile, energetic young piglets. Kneeling on calloused front wrists, she uses her tough, shovel-like snout to unearth nutritious roots and bulbs from dry soil. A broken upper left tusk and a bare gap in her bristly mane reveal years of surviving brutal savanna predator clashes. Her tiny piglets graze nearby, perfectly mimicking their mother while staying close to her protective, heavily armored muscular flank. In the nearby scrub, a stealthy leopard creeps through bleached grass, focusing hungry amber eyes on the vulnerable piglets. The big cat lowers her spotted body into stalking tension, preparing to launch a high-speed ambush across open ground. Sensing subtle danger, the mother snaps upright, her thin tufted tail erecting vertically like an antenna to signal flight. The piglets sprint instantly with tails held high, racing across the dusty red plain toward the sanctuary of their underground burrow. Exploding from dry cover, the leopard launches a furious sprint, closing the gap across the sun-baked savanna earth. Reaching the mound, the frantic piglets dive headfirst into the dark underground burrow opening to escape lethal claws. Instead of entering headfirst, the mother executes a sharp spin at the threshold, reversing backward into the tight earthen tunnel. Wedging herself in the entrance, she presents a formidable fortress, aiming her razor-sharp lower tusks directly outward at the predator. The charging leopard skids to a halt at the burrow mouth, confronted by deadly ivory daggers ready to impale. Growling in frustration, the spotted cat recoils from the narrow opening, unwilling to risk a fatal tusk wound. Defeated by tactical brilliance, the leopard retreats into the scrub, leaving the fearless mother guarding her family in triumph. Under the scorching afternoon heat, a solitary Cape buffalo bull wades into a shrinking mud wallow to cool his thick hide. Red-billed oxpeckers scuttle across his massive back, forming a living mobile ecosystem as they groom thousands of blood-sucking parasites. With delicate precision, the birds harvest engorged ticks from sensitive eye rims, while the giant relaxes in complete mutual trust. His chipped left horn and long-heeled flank scar tell the story of a veteran survivor hardened by countless savanna battles. In the bleached grass bordering the dry riverbed, two hungry lionesses creep forward, targeting the solitary one-ton giant. With silent padded steps, the apex predators close the distance, testing the wind before launching a synchronized flanking strike. High on the buffalo's forehead, an oxpecker spots the creeping predators, releasing a sharp, rattling, scolding alarm call. The flock bursts into flight above his head, acting as an airborne radar system that shatters the predator's stealth approach. Alerted by his avian allies, the buffalo snaps his head high, snorting hot vapor and locking onto the approaching cats. The lionesses charge from dry cover, splitting wide to encircle the bull and exploit his vulnerable exposed rear flank. Refusing to turn and run, the massive bull lowers his solid horn boss and launches a ferocious countercharge directly forward. A sweeping upward thrust of his heavy hooked horns tears through dry air, narrowly missing the lead lioness by inches. Intimidated by the one-ton wall of bone and fury, the startled cats scatter across the mud, abandoning their ambush. Recognizing that an enraged bull cannot be overcome without lethal injuries, the predators retreat into the distant thorn scrub. As dust settles, the oxpeckers return to their perch, celebrating another victory forged through mutual trust on the plains. In the rugged thorn scrub, a solitary black rhinoceros patrols his territory, an ancient fortress of bone, muscle, and thick hide. Carrying nearly 2 tons of weight, his heavy three-toed feet crush dry branches with effortless, steady power. His front horn, worn flat into a chisel shape on the left, works alongside a scarred shoulder ridge from past territorial wars. With notoriously poor eyesight, the giant relies on red-billed oxpeckers perched near his ears to act as an early sensory alarm. In the lengthening shadows, a trio of spotted hyenas creeps through the thorn scrub, testing the old giant's defensive perimeter. Spotting the predators, the oxpecker erupts into flight, screeching a harsh, rattling warning directly into the rhino's ear. The rhino tosses his heavy head, blasting furious clouds of steam and dust as his acute hearing locates the intruders. The hyenas fan out in a predatory arc, attempting to exploit his limited vision by testing his rear flank. With astonishing agility defying his 2-ton bulk, the rhino spins instantly, locking his lethal horns directly onto the lead attacker. He launches into a ferocious 55-km/h charge, thundering forward like a living locomotive across the sun-baked plains. The upward thrust of his chisel horn rips through dry air, splintering nearby stones and narrowly missing the lead scavenger. Terrified by the crushing display of raw power, the hyenas scatter in complete disarray across the dusty thorn scrub. Standing firm amid the settling red dust, the ancient titan snorts calmly, having defended his territory without a single scratch. His faithful avian sentinel glides back down, perching peacefully on the horn to resume their lifelong survival pact. As night claims the wilderness, the armored giant walks into the shadows, an enduring symbol of prehistoric African resilience. Basking on the sunlit riverbank, a large Nile monitor lizard emerges from the muddy shallows to warm its cold-blooded reptilian body. Flicking a yellow forked tongue to sample scent molecules, its keen senses detect the hidden nest of a nearby predator. Buried beneath a warm sandy mound lies a clutch of Nile crocodile eggs, an irresistible prize packed with rich protein. Using sharp, curved digging claws, the agile lizard excavates the sand rapidly, racing against time before the mother returns. Uncovering the subterranean chamber, it seizes a large white leathery egg, crushing the shell with specialized blunt rear teeth. Surfacing quietly from the murky river, a 4-meter female Nile crocodile erupts into motion to defend her stolen clutch. Above the river, a watchful martial eagle dives toward the exposed sandbank, drawn by the commotion on the open shore. Caught between crushing reptilian jaws on the bank and razor talons from above, the monitor lizard must react instantly. Bolting across the sand with explosive speed, the lizard swerves erratically, dodging the eagle's outstretched talons by mere inches. The charging crocodile lunges with gaping jaws, but the agile lizard whips its muscular stumped tail, slipping past the strike. Leaping into the swirling brown water, the monitor uses its powerful laterally compressed tail to propel itself deep below the surface. Gliding effortlessly between submerged tree roots, it navigates narrow underwater channels where the heavy crocodile cannot easily follow. Left behind on the sandy shoreline, the frustrated mother crocodile guards her remaining nest as the eagle circles away empty-taloned. Emerging on the opposite granite bank, the soaked monitor climbs onto a sun-baked boulder to bask in absolute safety. Masters of land and water, Africa's giant lizards survive through sheer agility, defying the most lethal guardians of the river. On the sun-drenched North American prairie, a small burrowing owl stands guard outside an abandoned underground tunnel. Standing upright on long, bare legs, her round yellow eyes scan the grassland with intense, sharp vigilance. Using innovative intelligence, she places dried bison dung around the entrance, creating a trap that attracts protein-rich beetles. Spotting a large dung beetle lured by the bait, she pounces forward, securing an easy, nutritious catch. 3 fluffy, downy chicks emerge from the tunnel shadows, eagerly feeding on the beetle delivered by their mother. Across the dry shortgrass plain, a hungry coyote stalks silently forward, drawn by movement around the burrow mound. Bobbing rapidly up and down, the mother sounds a sharp alarm chatter, ordering her chicks back underground instantly. The tiny chicks scramble backward down the dark earthen tunnel, retreating safely into the deep underground nesting chamber. From deep inside the subterranean tunnel, the family deploys a remarkable defense, producing a loud, perfect rattlesnake hiss. The acoustic mimicry echoes from the dark entrance, vibrating with the unmistakable buzzing rattle of an enraged viper. Reaching the burrow threshold, the coyote freezes instantly, ears pinned back as the terrifying rattle echoes outward. Fearing a lethal strike to its sensitive snout, the startled canine recoils backward from the dark earthen hole. Thoroughly deceived by the acoustic trick, the predator turns and trots away across the sunlit shortgrass prairie. Emerging back onto the mound, the vigilant mother watches the predator vanish, safeguarding her subterranean family in triumph. Across the vast North American prairie, an unlikely hunting partnership unites 2 very different predators, a coyote and an American badger. The low-slung badger is built like a bulldozer, equipped with massive curved claws designed for explosive subterranean excavation. Beside it trots the agile coyote, whose long legs and sharp eyesight provide rapid surface speed on open ground. Ahead in the short grass, a prairie ground squirrel vanishes into its deep underground burrow network to escape detection. Instinctively dividing their roles, the badger advances on the main entrance, while the coyote stakes out distant escape exits. With furious mechanical power, the badger's heavy forepaws tear through the compacted prairie soil in flying showers of dirt. Plunging deep into the tunnel, the stocky mustelid sends plumes of earth billowing from the burrow opening behind it. 50 yards away, the coyote stands frozen like a statue, watching secondary escape holes with coiled, predatory focus. Driven from subterranean chambers by the digging badger, the frantic rodent bolts toward the daylight of the rear exit. The squirrel bursts out into open daylight, only to find the watchful coyote waiting directly above the escape hole. With an explosive aerial leap, the coyote pounces downward, capturing the fleeing rodent in a single precise strike. The badger emerges from the excavated entrance covered in prairie dust, securing underground larvae and grubs inside the tunnel. Working as complementary hunters, both predators double their hunting efficiency by exploiting each other's specialized evolutionary skills. They pause on the sunlit mound in peaceful cooperation, showing no aggression as they share the productive hunting territory. Across the golden grasslands, this ancient alliance endures, proving that mutual cooperation conquers the harshest North American wilderness. Massive, hair-padded paws act like natural snowshoes, allowing the heavy predator to glide effortlessly over deep, powdery drifts. Specialized upper molars turned 90 degrees allow him to shear through rock-solid bone and frozen marrow with crushing mechanical force. Drawn by the sound of splintering bone, a massive grizzly bear emerges from the frost-covered pine forest, eager to claim the prize. Weighing over 600 pounds, the colossal predator marches forward, expecting the smaller carnivore to surrender the hard-won food instantly. Instead of fleeing, the fearless Wolverine plants his stocky legs into the snow, bristling his dense fur to double his size. The massive bear swipes a heavy clawed paw forward, attempting to swat the snarling creature away from the frozen cache. Unwilling to risk a severe facial injury for a frozen scrap, the colossal bear hesitates, stepping back into the pines. High in an ancient umbrella thorn acacia, a mother leopard rests with her cub, safe from dangerous ground predators. Her burning amber eyes survey the plains below, driven by the urgent need to secure fresh meat for her offspring. Before departing, she gently grooms the small cub, nudging it deep into a protective hollow fork between leafy branches. Climbing down the vertical trunk head first with remarkable muscular control, she slips silently onto the sun-baked savanna floor. She stalks low through dry, wait-a-bit thorns, closing the distance on an unsuspecting impala with complete ghostly silence. Exploding forward in a lightning sprint, she secures the kill swiftly behind a curtain of swirling golden savanna dust. There is no time to rest. She immediately grips the heavy carcass, knowing ground scavengers will quickly converge on the scent. Drawn by the scent of fresh blood, two spotted hyenas sprint across the ridge, intent on stealing the mother's hard-earned kill. Reaching the base of the umbrella tree just ahead of the scavengers, the mother prepares for an incredible vertical ascent. Defying gravity with staggering muscular power, she hauls the 50-kilogram carcass straight up the sheer vertical wooden trunk. Seconds later, the hyenas arrive at the base, snapping their heavy jaws in vain at the unreachable prize above. She wedges the carcass securely into a high horizontal branch fork, perfectly out of reach of all savanna competitors. Hearing her gentle call, the small cub emerges safely from the leafy hollow, greeting its mother with affectionate purrs. High above the frustrated scavengers below, mother and cub share the feast in absolute canopy peace and security. Mastering the vertical realm, the leopard mother guarantees her cub's survival, turning high branches into an unconquerable sanctuary. At first light, a mother cheetah scans the vast savanna from a termite mound, guarding her 4 vulnerable cubs. Her slender build and dark facial tear lines absorb the morning glare, focusing intense amber eyes across the golden plain. 4 tiny 3-week-old cubs tumble out of the grass, sporting fluffy silver mantles that mimic fearless honey badgers. This specialized camouflage protects them from raptors, but scent buildup means the family must relocate every 4 days. With predators constantly patrolling the plains, remaining in one nursery den invites deadly discovery by larger carnivores. A mile away, a pride of lions traverses the misty grassland, the ultimate mortal threat to newborn cheetah cubs. Catching a faint scent on the cold morning breeze, an apex lioness pauses on a ridge to scan the horizon. The mother cheetah immediately initiates the perilous journey, leading her 4 cubs in a disciplined, low-crouch single file. When the smallest cub stumbles over dry roots, she pauses, calling softly with high-pitched bird-like chirps to encourage it. As a lioness appears on the skyline, the mother drops flat against the dirt, signaling her cubs to freeze instantly. Pressed into the bleached grass, the tiny cubs lie completely motionless, vanishing into the sunlit pattern of shadows. The lioness scans the open plain, her gaze passing over the camouflaged family, before she turns and walks away. With the danger passing, the mother ushers her young toward the protective granite boulders of a distant rocky kopje. Reaching the rugged rocks, she guides her 4 exhausted cubs into a secluded crevice shielded by wait-a-bit thorn bushes. Safely tucked into their new sanctuary, the devoted mother stands sentinel, successfully completing another vital relocation across the plains. He uncovers a cached caribou carcass preserved under snow, providing vital calories to survive the merciless northern winter. His specialized shearing molars slice through rock-hard frozen muscle, fueling his compact body with dense, life-saving nutrition. High on a craggy snow ridge, an apex gray wolf pack appears, drawn to the carcass site by a cute smell. The alpha male fixes intense yellow eyes on the lone scavenger, calculating the odds of seizing the frozen prize. Trotting down the slope, the wolves fan out in a predatory arc, intending to intimidate the smaller mustelid into retreat. Unmoved by their superior numbers, the Wolverine arches his spine, bristling dense fur and unleashing a pungent defensive musk. The alpha wolf steps forward with an aggressive snap, testing the defender's resolve before committing his pack to battle. Exploding forward in a berserker charge, the Wolverine snaps his lethal teeth just millimeters from the wolf's sensitive nose. Stunned by the suicidal ferocity, the alpha wolf skids backward into the snowdrifts, reassessing the dangerous encounter. For several tense minutes, the pack circles warily, but the immovable defender refuses to give up an inch. Recognizing that severe injuries in winter mean starvation, the alpha leads his pack away into the deep timber. Standing unbroken on the frozen summit, the northern titan reigns supreme, proving that unyielding ferocity outmatches the fiercest pack. As afternoon shadows lengthen across the prairie, a burrowing owl mother stands sentinel outside her subterranean family nest. Slithering silently through the dry grass, a venomous prairie rattlesnake approaches, seeking cool subterranean refuge and easy prey. Spotting the deadly serpent slipping into the tunnel, the mother realizes her helpless chicks are trapped directly below. Diving underground, the fearless mother positions herself in the narrow tunnel, blocking the snake's path to the nesting chamber. Cornered in the tight corridor, the viper raises its segmented rattle, buzzing violently to intimidate the feathered defender. Unintimidated by the buzz, the mother matches the threat with explosive beak-clacking snaps and ferocious maternal hisses. In the tight corridor, the rattlesnake strikes forward, launching its venomous fangs directly toward the bird's chest. She twists her body sideways, using her dense wing feathers as a shield to deflect the fangs safely. Counterattacking instantly, the mother drives her sharp black talons forward, clawing relentlessly at the serpent's sensitive eyes. In the deep nesting chamber, the 3 downy owlets huddle together in darkness, protected by their mother's fury. Striking with her hooked beak in rapid succession, she delivers punishing blows that leave the disoriented reptile reeling backward. Overwhelmed by the relentless ferocity, the venomous intruder turns around, slithering frantically backward toward the bright entrance. Bursting out onto the prairie surface, the defeated rattlesnake retreats rapidly into tall, bleached grass under the setting sun. Emerging behind the intruder, the victorious mother watches the snake disappear, ensuring the threat is completely banished from her home. With her chicks safe by her side, the small prairie warrior stands unconquered against the vast, wild North American horizon. On the sun-baked plains, The cheetah mother needs a successful hunt to produce milk for her 4 growing cubs. Her intense amber eyes lock onto an isolated Thompson's gazelle, grazing unaware 50 meters away across open ground. Hiding her cubs safely inside a dense thicket, she steps out alone onto the barren, exposed hunting grounds. She creeps forward in an impossibly low crouch, freezing completely whenever the wary gazelle lifts its horned head. Breaking into full acceleration, she reaches 60 miles per hour in 3 seconds, muscles firing with blinding speed. Her long, muscular tail whips side to side like a rudder, counterbalancing high-speed turns across the dusty plain. Extending her sharp dew claw with surgical precision, she hooks the gazelle's heel, sending the prey tumbling into dust. Clamping her jaws onto the windpipe, she secures the takedown swiftly behind a swirling cloud of red earth. Exhausted and overheating from the explosive sprint, she pants heavily, needing critical minutes to recover her breath. Shadows sweep across the ground as dozens of white-backed vultures drop from the sky, closing in to scavenge. Forcing her tired body upright, the mother hisses violently, slapping front paws to drive back the circling birds. She releases a series of piercing bird-like chirps, summoning her hidden cubs to sprint across the open clearing. The 4 fluffy cubs arrive eagerly, tearing into the warm, protein-rich meat under their mother's fierce protection. While her young feed hungrily, the vigilant mother watches the horizon, guarding against approaching hyenas and lions. Full-bellied and revitalized, the family retreats into thick brush, having claimed another vital victory in the wild. Under the blistering Sonoran sun, a greater roadrunner patrols the scorching sands, hunting for dangerous desert reptiles. Her dark, shaggy crest raises in alertness, while intense dark eyes scan the ground for hidden venomous threats. Long, specialized zygodactyl feet allow her to sprint at 20 miles per hour across the scorching desert floor. Under a creosote bush, a venomous sidewinder rattlesnake glides across the loose sand in sweeping lateral J-shaped curves. Spotting the coiled viper, the fearless roadrunner halts, preparing for a high-stakes duel against lethal neurotoxic venom. Rearing back in an S-curve, the viper buzzes its rattle frantically, bearing long, curved fangs in warning. Dropping her wings like a matador's cape, the roadrunner circles the serpent, using fanned feathers to distract its aim. Losing patience, the rattlesnake explodes forward, launching its venomous fangs in a fraction of a single second. Leaping straight up into the air, the agile bird dodges the strike by inches, using outspread wings for lift. She thrusts a wing forward as a feint, allowing the fangs to bite harmlessly into stiff, unfeeling flight feathers. Capitalizing on the opening, her heavy dagger-like bill snaps shut with crushing force directly behind the serpent's horned head. She repeatedly thrashes the captured viper against a sun-baked rock slab, fracturing its skull to eliminate all venomous reflex. Tilting her head backward, she swallows the limp serpent head first, sliding the long reptile down her expanding esophagus. With the rattle still protruding from her beak, she spreads dark back feathers to absorb solar heat for digestion. Ruling the scorched wilderness through lightning reflexes, the fearless roadrunner sprints into the sunset, an undisputed master of desert survival. High in the riverine canopy, an African tree pangolin navigates mossy branches, an extraordinary armored specialist of the treetops. Her long, prehensile tail acts like a powerful fifth limb, anchoring her body securely to vertical wooden limbs. Clinging by her tail alone, she tears into an arboreal carton ant nest with razor-sharp front digging claws. A specialized 25-centimeter sticky tongue harvests thousands of insects, while special muscles seal her nostrils against bites. Sliding silently along the same mossy boo, a 3-meter African rock python approaches, sensing the warm-blooded mammal. Sensing branch vibrations through her claws, the tree pangolin freezes, instantly recognizing the silent, crushing predatory presence. In one fluid movement, she curls into an impenetrable armored sphere, wrapping her muscular tail tightly around the branch. The massive python strikes immediately, wrapping heavy muscular coils around the ball in an attempt to crush its prey. Muscular contractions along the pangolin's tail snap scale blades outward, pinching and cutting the snake's sensitive underside. Pained by the razor-sharp scales, the constrictor uncoils rapidly, abandoning the impenetrable fortress and fleeing into dense foliage. Moments later, an adult leopard balances along the high bough, investigating the strange, motionless sphere resting on the bark. She paws and bites the armored ball, but sharp canines skid harmlessly across the tightly locked three-cusped keratin shield. Unable to dislodge the anchored sphere or find an opening, the frustrated cat turns away and descends the tree. With both predators gone, the unyielding survivor slowly uncurls, lifting her narrow snout into the warm, peaceful canopy air. Climbing toward the sun, the armored acrobat continues her treetop journey, an ancient master of defense in the African canopy. Under the blistering midday sun, an exhausted lioness stands guard over a fresh kill, fighting off oppressive savanna heat. Her keen golden eyes scan the perimeter, knowing the scent of fresh meat travels far on rising thermal currents. Eerie whoops echo across the clearing as a clan of 5 spotted hyenas gathers on a nearby gravel ridge. The matriarch advances boldly, her notched ear twitching as she evaluates the solitary lioness defending the carcass. Refusing to abandon her kill, the lioness stands firm, releasing a deafening roar that rattles the sun-baked plains. Relying on numbers, the hyenas surround her in a tight circle, cackling and giggling to wear down her focus. The lead hyena darts forward in a brazen feint, snapping powerful jaws inches from the big cat's hind leg. Spinning around with lightning reflexes, the lioness delivers a punishing paw swipe, narrowly missing the scavenger by mere inches. Exploiting her distraction, 2 flankers rush in from behind, sinking massive teeth into the carcass and attempting to drag it. Breaking from the thorn scrub, a young male lion charges into the fray, his dark-tipped mane bristling with fury. He plants his heavy paws, releasing an earth-shattering roar that sends shockwaves across the silent, sun-baked plains. United in fury, the 2 lions launch a synchronized frontal charge, shattering the hyena perimeter in seconds. Overpowered by superior strength, the scavengers bolt in complete panic, fleeing deep into distant thorny thickets. Standing victorious over the secured meal, the pair shares a gentle head rub, reaffirming their unbreakable pride bond. Through unmatched physical strength and coordinated loyalty, the rulers of the savanna claim their rightful place atop the wild. Soaring on high thermal currents, a martial eagle surveys the rugged savanna, ruling the skies with unmatched visual acuity. Her piercing yellow eyes can detect movement from 3 miles away, scanning every sun-baked boulder across the plains. With a 7-foot wingspan missing 1 flight feather, she adjusts her aerodynamic glide to lock onto prey below. On a massive granite kopje, a heavy Nile monitor lizard basks openly, unaware of the airborne hunter above. Flicking a yellow forked tongue, the cold-blooded reptile absorbs solar heat, its blunt tail resting on warm stone. Folding broad wings, the eagle plunges into a high-speed dive, dropping like a lightning bolt toward the rocks. Massive yellow feet thrust forward in midair, opening razor-sharp black talons capable of snapping large bones instantly. Sensing the descending shadow, the lizard whips its muscular stumped tail sideways, just as talons strike the granite. Curved talons graze tough beaded scales, but the lizard's loose, elastic hide rolls freely to prevent lethal puncture. Twisting inside its own skin, the monitor snaps powerful jaws, forcing the raptor to hop back defensively. The eagle flaps broad wings to regain balance on the sloping rock, avoiding a punishing bite to her talons. Seizing the split-second opportunity, the agile lizard scrambles downward into a narrow, vertical granite fissure. Heavy talons slam against stone edges as the reptilian prize vanishes deep into the impenetrable rock fortress. Perched on the granite crest, the apex predator pauses, respecting the subterranean defense of her ancient opponent. Launching into the golden afternoon breeze, the sky's sovereign hunter ascends again, patrolling her endless African kingdom. As crimson twilight descends across the African savanna, the mother honey badger steps out, initiating her evening patrol. Her scarred shoulder and notched ear catch the fading light, bearing witness to a day of unrelenting survival. Trotting across the cooling plains, she fears no predator, having proven her indomitable courage against savanna giants. At the rocky Kopcha base, the Cape Porcupine emerges into dusk, bristling spines resting safely against its back. Nearby, the ancient ground pangolin strides on two legs, armored in interlocking keratin plates that defy all teeth. Together, these armored specialists navigate the twilight, walking proof that impenetrable biological defense outlasts brute predatory force. Across the darkening plain, the banded Mongoose clan trots in tight unison back toward their fortified termite mound. In the Kalahari sands, the Meerkat matriarch gathers her pups safely below ground as evening shadows lengthen. United by cooperation and vigilance, these small desert clans turn fragile numbers into unbreakable subterranean kingdoms. Outside their earthen burrow, the Warthog family rests peacefully, protected by their mother's lethal outward-facing ivory tusks. By the quiet riverbed, the veteran buffalo bull rests in the cool mud while oxpeckers sleep on his horns. Beside ancient granite boulders, the black rhino and giant monitor rest, secure within their respective realms of earth and water. On the vast North American prairie, the burrowing owl stands tall over her chicks in the quiet evening breeze. From frozen taiga to sun-baked dunes, these 16 masters of survival endure, unconquered against the harshest wild world. Outside her underground sanctuary, the mother honey badger gently touches noses with her well-fed, safe cub beneath the moon. Her notched ear and battle-tested shoulder scar gleam under starlight, living symbols of an unbroken spirit on the plains. Yawning sleepily in the cool breeze, the cub rests beside her, entirely safe under its mother's fierce protection. With gentle nudges, she guides her cub back into the warm underground chamber, securing their family sanctuary for the night. High in the canopy, the leopard mother watches over her sleeping cub, master of the vertical savanna sanctuary. Across the grass, the lion pride rests side by side, their dominance secured through unwavering loyalty and strength. By the cool riverbed, the veteran buffalo bull sleeps peacefully, an ancient giant protected by loyal avian sentinels. On the North American prairie, the burrowing owl stands vigil over her young beneath a glittering canopy of stars. Under the full moon, the mother honey badger stands sentinel, the heart and soul of this epic survival saga. Night holds the wild in peaceful stillness, a brief pause between battles for the resilient creatures of the African continent. As the darkness recedes, the golden-pink glow of a new dawn breaks across the endless eastern horizon. Stepping out into the golden morning air, the mother honey badger emerges, ready to face another day of survival. Her cub follows close behind, standing beside its fearless protector to greet the rising sun with enduring hope and vitality. For in the wild, survival is never absolute strength. It belongs to the brave, granting permission to live and fight once more.